102.5 FM. If your boss doesn't want you to listen to us at work, quit!
With news from across the Federation, spanning the region and covering the globe, this is the Kyssfm SKN News Now Morning Edition, your one true source for news. And now your presenter.
Good morning. Today is Thursday, 1st March 2018. I am your presenter, Javon Library, and these are your top stories. Nationally, mold-infested officers limit the CFB's acting president to a container. Internationally, 1 in 3 children in the Central African Republic are missing out on education. And in sport, the head of the U.S. Olympics Committee has resigned. We'll also have a look at today's weather update, forecast, and Carib update. Now for a look at the news in detail. Acting President of the Clarence Fitzroy Bryan College, Mrs. Ione Liburd Willett, is being denied the use of her office in the administrative wing of the college due to high levels of mold found in the building. Liburd Willett has therefore been forced to operate out of a container on the institution's campus. On Wednesday, 28th February, the Department of the Health ordered that the entire staff occupying the administration building on the main campus vacate the quarters. The offices were then closed. Sources close to SKN News Now have revealed that the areas most affected are the offices of the dean, the receptionist, the information technology manager, the webmaster, and the guidance counselor. In October 2017, a section of CFB's Division of Technical Vocational Education and Management Studies Department located on Hosford Road was deemed unfit for habitation by the Department of Health and closed. The issue of mold and other health-threatening matters were identified since last year at the college's main campus. In February 2017, the CFB Board of Directors said the board and the administration were made aware of a foul odor in the administration office and staff room, which appeared to be affecting some persons. The statement was issued after the St. Kitts Nevis Labour Party's parliamentary representative for St. Christopher III, Honourable Conwys Maynard, informed the nation that a serious mold problem existed at CFBC. The board in its statement said it approved several measures to identify and effectively address the source of these environmental issues. These measures include, but are not limited to, air quality testing and investigations currently being undertaken by the Ministry of Health and the Bureau of Standards, as well as the temporary relocation of the persons from the affected areas. A 3-day impact justice workshop being hosted specifically for the Royal St. Christopher and Nevis Police Force concluded on Wednesday at the Police Training Complex. Starting on Monday this week, 34 police officers from various departments covered topics including report writing, interviewing and interrogation techniques, and the law of evidence. The facilitators were drawn from BAH Consulting, which specializes in crime and security management, law enforcement, criminal justice, criminology, modern penal thought, and penal practice. One of the facilitators, Bertie Hines, is a founder and managing director of BAH Consulting. Mr. Hines has served as the Deputy Director of the Regional Security System from 2014 to 2016 and is a retired Deputy Commissioner of Police of the Royal Barbados Police Force. The second facilitator is Tyrone Sargent, who retired from the Royal Barbados Police Force as a Senior Superintendent of Police and Divisional Commander. Addressing the timeliness of the training, retired Deputy Commissioner Hines said that at all levels of Caribbean security and at all levels of Caribbean society, there is a great concern about the state of crime and criminality, and went on to note that good investigative know-how leads to success in finding and prosecuting criminal perpetrators. Commissioner of Police Ian Creedy spoke of the significance of having a high detection rate and added that it is an effective means of deterring crime. The workshop was funded by the Improved Access Justice in the Caribbean Impacts, which is a 5-year regional justice sector reform project funded by the Government of Canada and was implemented from within the Caribbean Law Institute Centre, Faculty of Law, the University of the West Indies, UWI Cave Hill campus. Internationally, UNICEF says one of its workers and 4 teachers have been killed in the Central African Republic. It says a third of children are missing out of an education because of the fighting between armed groups. Many schools have been destroyed or are being used as camps for people who have escaped the violence. Catherine Sai reports.
Children learn basic math and social sciences from teacher Simplice Mandekuzu. He's one of only 3 teachers for the 400 children who study here. Standard 2 and 3 pupils share one class because there's not enough space to learn separately. Mandekuzu himself is learning on the job. He's never been to high school and was only trained for a month by a children's aid agency before starting to teach.
I decided to teach so that the children can have a bright future. I'll die one day, but if I make a difference in the life of one child, that child will also make a difference.
He's one of hundreds of community teachers here, many with very little education themselves, who've been hurriedly recruited and trained to fill the gap left by professional teachers who fled the war.
But at least these children have a classroom to come to every day. Many others in more remote areas in Central African Republic have no schools, no teachers, no way of getting an education.
In many parts, schools have been destroyed, looted, or are occupied by armed groups. Many children have been displaced, and others are forced to work instead of going to class.
We may be losing generations of children in this country. When they go to school, what they learn, we're not sure it's something that will get them to where you would want any kid in this world to go in terms of becoming a productive adult who can live peacefully in his or her community.
Grasa Taha is 12 years old, an orphan who sells kerosene for a living. He's not been to school for 2 years.
If my business grows, I can feed myself and go back to school. But if I don't work, how can I even afford anything?
The country badly needs about 14,000 teachers. Those stepping up, like Mandekuzu, say they're doing the best they can in the most trying of times to ensure their pupils learn at least the basics.
The head of the U.S. Olympics Committee has resigned. Scott Blackmun said he's stepping down, citing health concerns related to prostate cancer. The sport body has faced months of criticism for its handling of a series of sex abuse scandals. Reports allege he may have known about the allegations against former gymnastic Dr. Larry Nassar as early as September 2015. Despite complaints, critics say he did not properly intervene.
The fallout continues. The head of the U.S. Olympics Committee, Scott Blackmun, says he's stepping down, citing health concerns related to prostate cancer. The announcement comes amid pressure for him to leave for reportedly mishandling the sex abuse scandal involving the U.S. gymnastics team. Blackmun led the USOC for 8 years. He drew praise for helping Los Angeles win the 2028 Olympic bid, but these accomplishments were overshadowed.
Do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth under penalty of perjury?
According to reports, he may have known about allegations against former gymnastics Dr. Larry Nassar as early as September 2015. Despite complaints, critics say he did not properly intervene. Before he was sentenced to 175 years in prison, Nassar's victims addressed him in court. The accounts echoed the Me Too movement, reflecting widespread abuse of power.
As I look at you today, I feel nauseous, even standing in front of you.
The former USA Gymnastics team doctor was convicted for sexually abusing more than 260 female athletes. The abuse spanned decades and included his employment at Michigan State University. Parents and athletes say they complained to top officials, yet the abuse continued and Nassar remained employed. As details of abuse were made public, the entire board of USA Gymnastics resigned in January. Mr. Blackmun is the latest official embroiled in the scandal to step down, but he may not be the last. A bipartisan group of U.S. senators has called for a further investigation.
And now for a look at today's weather forecast. The weather today will be partly sunny. Tonight will be mostly fair with a slight or 10% chance of showers. Winds are east-northeast to east at 7 to 14 miles per hour. Seas are moderate with wave heights of 1.2 to 1.8 meters or 5 to 7 feet. Sea bathers are asked to exercise caution, particularly on the northern and eastern coastal areas. The sea level pressure is 1016.4 millibars. The sun will rise tomorrow at 6:28 a.m. and set today at 6:18 p.m. Over the rest of the region, stable conditions are expected to prevail across the eastern Caribbean today. However, a low-level trough is expected to generate cloudy intervals and showers this evening across the Windward Islands and Barbados. That item brings us to the end of the Kyssfm SKN News Now Morning Edition. Now for a recap of this morning's top stories. Nationally, mold-infested offices limits CFBC's acting president to a container. Internationally, 1 in 3 children in the Central African Republic are missing out on education. And in sport, the head of the U.S. Olympics Committee has resigned. Thanks for tuning in for another SKN News Now presentation. I've been your presenter. Stay tuned, Carib Update comes up next.